Hello, my dear student. Welcome to our new session of Motion in Straight Line. It's your 12th lecture, and we are near to finish the topic called Motion in Straight Line. In last class, we'll discuss how we'll form a graph, and I'll show you different variations of graph for straight line. I already tell you that you have to remember all the four equations, that is equation of straight line, which is y is equals to mx plus c, equation of parabola y square is equals to 4x or x square is equals to 4ay, equation of circle, it is x square plus a square, x square plus y square is equals to a square, equation of ellipse, it is x square by a square plus y square by b square is equals to 1 square. I already tell you how we will vary the graph. Remember, my dear student, the variation in graph will takes place on constant term, and for making graph we must need a equation. In that equation two variable must be present. Other than two variables, all terms which is present in equation are always constant term. Then only you are possible for making the graph. Moving forward, my dear student, let's start the graph related to kinematics, or we can say motion in straight line. In this session, we'll discuss how we'll make average velocity graph, how we'll make position time graph, how we'll make acceleration time graph. Different natures of kinematics is formed in graph. So starts moving. I'll write here, if we have a function of x, let's suppose we have a function, my dear student, x, that is f of x. Let's say it is integral y dx, which is equals to integral f of x dx, and we have a limit x1 to x2. See, I'll make a graph of f a function with respect to x, that is the function depends on x. I'll make a graph. I'll opt 2 point, my dear student. Here we have 2 points. At point A, the value of x is equals to x1, and at point B, the value of x is equals to x2. This is x equals to x1, and this is x equals to x2. If you will see here, my dear student, remember, if I'll make a graph of function with respect to x, then I'll get a area. See, this is an area. Remember, my dear student, this is an area. I'll write here, if a graph is made for any particular function, we have a function f of x, which is f of x dx, and I'll put a limit on function, it is x1 to x2. So then the integral of given function between two particular limits x1 and x2 gives us the area of the graph between 2 points x1 and x2, my dear student. See, if we have a function f of x, and we'll integrate that function by putting certain limit. I'm repeating once again. If we have a function and we are integrating that function by putting certain limit, then this function is nothing but this area. Remember, my dear student. So area under the graph gives you the value of function after integrating by putting some limit x1 to x2. I'm repeating once again. We have a area, we'll get a area between x1 to x2. This area represents nothing but, my dear student, integral of function with respect to x with limit x1 to x2. Remember this thing. Area under the curve can give you the value of integral of function with respect to x by putting certain limit. Write down on your notebook as area under the graph gives the value of function. Area under the graph gives the value of function with respect to x with certain limit. Remember this thing. This area represents integral x1 to x2 fx dx. I'll tell you that area under any function, area under any graph can give you the integral of function with respect to x by putting certain limit x1 to x2. So this area represents integral f of x dx limit x1 to x2. I hope you all understand this thing. You have to remember this thing, my dear student. Area under the graph can give you the value of function with respect to x. Area under the graph gives you the value of function with respect to x by putting certain limit. Here our function is changing from x1 to x2. That's why I'll put limit x1 to x2 f of x dx. So I hope you all understand that area under any graph gives you the value of function with respect to x by limit x1 to x2. Now moving forward, my dear student, let's make a graph of acceleration and time. Write down acceleration time graph. Write down acceleration time graph. I already tell you that area under any function gives you the value of integral of that function with respect to x by putting certain limit x1 to x2. Acceleration time graph. Write down heading, it is acceleration time graph. Acceleration time graph. Right now I'm making acceleration time graph. So see, my dear student, let's suppose we have a particle moving like this. This is our acceleration and time. So time is always along x-axis and acceleration is along y-axis. Now let's suppose, my dear student, a particle is moving like this. Let's suppose we'll take time. Two time is there. One is t is equals to t1, other is t is equals to t2. I'll putting the limit. I'm doing what, beta? I'm doing integration of acceleration with respect to time, because I already tell you integral f of x dx by putting some limit x1 to x2 is equals to nothing but area under the graph. Area under graph. Now see, my dear student, I'll take time t1 to t2. The particle covers certain area. This is our area. See, on what is our function? Our function is a, and this a is changing with respect to t. So what I'll write, my dear student? I'll write, instead of f of x dx, I'll write integral acceleration dt from time t1 to t2. That is, acceleration is changing with respect to time dt. Now see, my dear student, this change in function is represented here in graph with area with limit t1 to t2. Here y is the function is a, and this function is changing with respect to time. So I'll write a dt f of x dx. Instead of f of x dx, I'll write a dt. So limit is t1 to t2. So we know that acceleration is nothing but change in velocity with respect to time. So if I'll write here integral t1 to t2 a dt, which is equals to integral. Now instead of acceleration, I'll write dv by, instead of acceleration, I'll write dv by dt here and into dt with certain limit. Now see, my dear student, dt get cancelled. So we know that in time is changing, and if time is changing, my dear student, then velocity is also changed. So this change in velocity dv is very small. So we'll say that the change in velocity is very small. dv means change in velocity, and this change must be very small. This change must be very small. So let's suppose, my dear student, velocity is changing in very negligible amount. So what I'll write here? I'll write here with time t is equals to t1, let the velocity is nothing but let's say it is v, and for time t is equals to t2, again the velocity is v, because this change is very negligible. So if I'll write here, it is integral t1 to t2 A dt is equals to change in velocity is nothing but v. So v at t1 and v at t2. So what I'll write here, integral t1 to t2 A dt is equals to change in velocity in t2 minus velocity in t1. So integral t1 to t2 A dt is equals to change in velocity delta v, change in velocity, that is delta v. And we know that integral A dt from t1 to t2 is nothing but this area. So what it conclude, my dear student? It conclude that if we find area under acceleration time graph, that area gives the value of change in velocity of the particle. Remember this thing, my dear student. If we will find the area under acceleration time graph, then that area can gives the value of change in velocity with respect to time. I hope you all understand this thing, my dear student. Remember, if you will find the area under acceleration time graph, then that area is nothing but change in function with respect to x with certain limit x1 to x2. So here acceleration is changing with respect to time, that's why I'll write change in function, that is change in acceleration with respect to time dt with limit t1 to t2. So what we'll get, beta? We'll get change in velocity. So final conclusion is this, that if we have a graph of acceleration and time, find the area of graph. That area can gives the value of change in velocity of the particle. So area under acceleration time graph can gives the value of change in velocity, So I hope you all understand. Moving forward, write down next graph, acceleration, write down motion with constant acceleration. Motion with constant acceleration. Let's suppose I'll write heading motion with constant acceleration. Let's suppose a particle is moving in such a way that its acceleration is not changing. Let's suppose, my dear student, we have a particle which is moving in such a manner that its acceleration is not changing. Here I am making a graph of acceleration versus time. So let's see here, time is on x-axis and acceleration is on y-axis. Acceleration is not changing as time changes. Let's suppose I am finding acceleration from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to t. You are seeing here this line is parallel to x-axis, which implies that acceleration is constant. Now see, my dear student, from t is equals to 0 to t is equals to t, the particle covers an area, and we know that it forms a rectangle. And we know that about rectangle, let's say at this point here a is also 0. Let's suppose here a is a, this distance must be a and this distance must be t. So area of rectangle forms. So area of rectangle is nothing but L into B. So area is equals to L into B. So what is L, my dear student? T, and B is A. So A into T. We know that area is equals to A into T. Now see, my dear student, this area is under acceleration time graph, and I already tell you, and area under acceleration time graph gives the value of change in velocity, that is delta v. Now see, my dear student, change in velocity is nothing but velocity at t1, t2 minus velocity at t1. Now see my dear student, velocity at t2 is t, velocity at t is equals to t2, let's suppose v, and velocity at t1 is 0, so velocity is also 0, so delta v is nothing but v. So area, instead of area I'll write v, so v is equals to at. If you will consider initial velocity to be u and final velocity to be t, so even that thing you will also write. If you want to write velocity at t1 time is u, then it is v minus u, so it is v minus u. So what you will write my dear student, you will write v is equals to u plus at. This is the equation of motion with constant acceleration. See, I am repeating once again my dear student. In previous part of this lecture, I'll tell you that area under acceleration time graph can gives the value of change in velocity. Change in velocity means velocity at t2 time minus velocity at t1 time. Now see, if particle is moving with constant acceleration, it means acceleration is not changing. So with respect to time, as time changes but acceleration is not changing. So particle covers an area, and we know that it forms a rectangle whose area is nothing but L into B. So L is T and B is A. So L into A, I mean A into T. Now area, come to area. We know that area under acceleration time graph can change in velocity. So change in velocity is nothing but velocity at T2 minus velocity at t1. If I am saying that velocity at t2 is equals to, let's say v, and velocity at t1, let's suppose u, so v minus u. So we know that delta v becomes equals to v minus u. Now see, area is represented by change in velocity. So instead of area, I'll write change in velocity, and change in velocity is nothing but v minus u. So in v, if I'll put v minus u is equals to at, then u comes this side, so v is equals to u plus at, and we know that v is equals to u plus at is nothing but equation of motion with constant acceleration. So remember my dear student, these are the things of graph related to kinematics. So you have to understand better way. Moreover, moving forward my dear student, let's find area under velocity time curve, what they give. Write down next graph, area under velocity time curve. Area under velocity time curve. Area under velocity time curve. Write down area under velocity time curve. I am writing here area under velocity time curve. Area under velocity time curve. So let's suppose a particle is moving in such a way that the formation of graph will be, let's suppose, like this. Let's suppose the formation of graph is like this. We know that why, if we have a function and that function is changing with respect to x, then if you will find the area under y and x, y with respect to x, that function is represented through that area. So let's suppose we have a time, let's suppose here the time t is equals to t1 and here the time t is equals to t2. You are seeing that the particle is cover some area. Let's suppose the area is nothing but a. Now we know that if we have a function y is equals to f of x, then if I'll put some limit from x1 to x2, f of x dx, it is equals to area under the curve. We know that this thing, so area under the curve. So f of x, that is function is velocity and x is time. So what we'll write my dear student, we'll write area is come to be integral v dt from t1 to t2. From t1 to t2. I hope you all are understanding this thing, my dear student. Integral t1 to t2 v dt area. It means if I'll integrate velocity with respect to time, then the area under curve gives this value. So moving forward, now we know that velocity is nothing but change in position with respect to time, that is dx by dt. So what I'll write, beta, instead of dx, let dt come this side. So what we'll get, beta, v dt is equals to dx. Moving forward, so v dt is equals to dx. Now integrate this term. So dx must be x1 to, let's suppose, x2, and we know that initial we know that v dt is the time limit. So t1 to t2. So t1 to t2, here x is equals to x1, x is equals to x2, t is equals to t1, and t is equals to t2. So integral v dt. Now see, my dear student, this integral v dt from t1 to t2 is nothing but area. So area is equals to integral of dx, we know that x, and we'll put limit from x1 to x2. So area is equals to x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1 pronounced as change in x, or we can say displacement. So area under VT graph, can gives us displacement, as simple as this. I hope you all are understanding these things, my dear student. Remember, if velocity time graph is given and in question they are saying find the displacement, so simply you have to find the area under velocity time graph. That area represents, my dear student, displacement. Remember this thing. Write down area under velocity time curve. Area under velocity time curve between time t1 and t2, gives the displacement of particle, during time interval t1 to t2. Now see, my dear student, if we have, so remember this thing, nothing is very tough in understanding the graph. Just remember, integral f of x dx can gives the value of area under the graph. So we know that if I'll find the area of velocity and time, then that area can gives the value of displacement. Now see, my dear student, let's suppose a particle is moving like this. Let's suppose the particle is moving like this. So here this is the graph of velocity versus time. Now see, above origin we have a area, let's suppose it is A1, and below origin also we have a area, let's suppose A2. And we know that here by the formation of graph, the magnitude of A1 is equals to magnitude of A2. But see, my dear student, this A1 is above origin, it means this A1 is positive, and this A2 is below origin, it means A2 is what, my dear student? Negative. So in upward side the displacement is positive, and in downward side the displacement is negative. So net displacement, if I'll find net displacement in such types of condition, net displacement, remember, it will be A1 minus A2. Remember this thing. And if area of A1 and A2 is same, then A1 minus A2 means displacement is nothing but 0. It means the initial point and final point of motion is same. Remember this thing, my dear student. If some area is above origin and some area is below origin, under velocity time graph, then net displacement must be above origin area minus below origin area. But if you will find net distance, then it is nothing but a1 plus a2 under velocity time graph. So write down if some area under velocity time graph, if some area under velocity time graph is above origin, if some area under velocity time graph is above origin, and some area in velocity time graph is below origin, then net displacement, this thing we know that area under velocity time graph gives the value of displacement. Remember this thing, area under velocity time graph gives the net displacement or change in position vector or displacement vector. Area under acceleration time graph can gives you the value of change in velocity. So here comes, if some area is above origin and some area is below origin, then the net displacement must be a1 minus a2, area above origin minus area below origin. And if we are finding net distance, then net distance is nothing but actual path covered by particle. So actual path covered by particle is a1 area and a2 area. So net displacement becomes equals to, my dear student, a1 plus a2. Write down. I hope you all understand this thing. Moving forward, I am discussing now displacement time graph. So write down heading displacement time graph. Displacement time graph. Now see, my dear student, next graph is displacement time graph. Displacement time graph. So I'll make a graph of displacement versus time. Displacement versus time. Let's suppose a particle is moving in such a manner that the nature of graph becomes like this. Let's suppose the particle is moving like this. So let's see the duration. It is, I'll take 2 points. Let's suppose first point is A. I'll make a graph like this. And let's suppose at point B, t is equals to t2. At point A, t is equals to t1. Now see, my dear student, when time is t1, x is something like x1. And if time is t2, then x is nothing but x is equals to x2. I hope you are understanding this thing. We are finding now, we are analyzing the displacement time graph. I'll take two different points. One is point A and other is point B, and we are seeing here at point A the value of time t is equals to t1, and at point B the value of time is t is equals to t2. For t1 the displacement of particle, let's suppose the position of particle is x1, and at point B let's say the position of particle is x2. Now see, my dear student, if I wish to find this distance, then this distance must be t2 minus t1, which is nothing but change in time, and we know that change in time is presented by delta t. Moving forward, if you wish to find this distance, then this distance must be delta x, which is nothing but x2 minus x1. This delta t presents change in time and delta x presents change in position. Now see, my dear student, I'll make here a point. Let's suppose C, this line and this line is parallel to each other. So if this line is delta t, then this line also be delta t, which is nothing but t2 minus t1. Similarly, this line and y-axis reading is also parallel. So if this line is delta x, then this is also be delta x, because both the line are parallel to each other, my dear student. Now I'll join this A point and B point. If you are seeing here, this line is making some angle, let's suppose theta, and we know that this line is parallel to x-axis. So if this line is parallel to x-axis, then this line is also considered to be x-axis. And we know that, my dear student, if any angle is made with x-axis, then that angle must be right in terms of tan theta. So angle is nothing but slope, which is represented by tan theta. Now see, tan theta is equals to, we know that Pandit Badri Prasad har har bole, sona chandi tole, tan theta is nothing but perpendicular upon base. So tan theta is equals to, perpendicular is nothing but delta x and base is delta t. So tan theta is nothing but change in x, it is x2 minus x1, upon change in time it is t2 minus t1. So what we'll get, my dear student? We'll get average velocity. Remember this thing, my dear student. If change in time with change in position with respect to time gives you average velocity. So if displacement time graph is given and we have two time, remember this thing, write down in your notebook. If displacement time graph is given, write down, if displacement time graph is given and we have two different times, and we have two different times, then for different time position is also be different. Then for different times position is also be different. Then for different time position is also be different. Position is also be different. Position is also be different. Then if we'll find slope, in terms of tan theta, that slope can gives the value of, average velocity, then that slope can gives the value of average velocity for time t is equals to t1 to t is equals to t2. For time t is equals to t1 to t is equals to t2. Moving forward, my dear student, write down next graph. It is velocity time graph. So write down velocity time graph. Let's suppose a particle is moving. This is our velocity, this is time. Let's suppose a particle is moving like this. I'll take two different points on this velocity time graph. Let's suppose first point is A, when time t is equals to t1 and velocity is nothing but v is equals to v1. Let's suppose another point, I am taking point B. Here at point B, time t is nothing but t2 and velocity is nothing but v is equals to v2. Now see, my dear student, if we wish to find this distance, then this distance nothing but t2 minus t1, which is represented by delta t and called change in time. Similarly, if we wish to find this distance, my dear student, this distance is nothing but v2 minus v1, which is delta v, also called change in velocity. Now see, my dear student, let's make another point here. See, now see, this line and this line is parallel to each other. So if this line is t2 minus t1, then this line also be t2 minus t1, which is presented by delta t. Similarly, this line and this line are parallel to each other. So if this line is delta v, this line also be delta v, it implies v2 minus v1. Now I'll make a triangle and this triangle is making some angle theta. Now we know that this is nothing but slope and this slope is made with x-axis, so it will be right in terms of tan theta. Moving forward, we know that tan theta is nothing but perpendicular upon base. So tan theta is equals to, perpendicular is change in velocity upon base is change in time. So tan theta will write as v2 minus v1 upon t2 minus t1. v2 minus v1 means change in velocity in time t1 to t2, which is nothing but average acceleration, So what we learn from here? We learn from here that if velocity and time graph is given and we have two different times, So in two different times, velocity is also two different things. At time t1 c, velocity is v1. At time t is equals to t2, velocity is v2. So if you will find the slope of the graph in time t1 to t2, between time t1 to t2, then that slope in terms of tan theta can gives you the value of average acceleration. I hope you all are understanding the nature of graph, how the graph behaves and what we'll get. So write down in form of note, my dear student, write down, if we will find the slope of, 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 slope in terms of tan theta, slope in terms of tan theta under velocity time graph, under velocity time graph, then that slope in terms of tan theta, then that slope in terms of tan theta can gives the value of, can gives the value of, can gives the value of, can gives the value of average acceleration, can gives the value of average acceleration, can gives the value of average acceleration. So remember this thing, under velocity time graph, if two time is given, then just find the slope of the graph in terms of tan theta. That slope can gives the value of change in acceleration, change in velocity with respect to time, which is average acceleration. I hope you all understand this graph, my dear student. Now let's move to instead of another graph, we'll discuss some one or two questions, then we'll move forward with different types of graph. Right now we are dealing with average. In next session we will deal with instantaneous. So before starting instantaneous graph, let's do some numerical. So write down beta, write down some numericals. Write down, I'll tell the statement. A stone falls from a cliff. 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 So I hope you all understand the graph. A stone falls from the cliff and travel. A stone falls from the cliff and travel 24.5 meter. 24.5 meter in the last second. In the last second before it reaches the ground, before it reaches the ground, before it reaches the ground at the foot of the cliff, at the foot of the cliff, at the foot of the cliff. Find the height of the cliff. Find the height of the cliff. Find the height of the cliff. They are saying you have to find the height of the cliff. Now see, my dear student, there is a cliff. Let's suppose this is your cliff. In question they are saying a stone falls. So falls means nothing but initial velocity is considered to be, my dear student, 0. So a stone falls from a cliff and travel 24.5 meter in last second. So let's suppose that they are not giving the value of last second. So what we'll consider, let nth be the last second. Let nth be the last second. Now see, my dear student, they are saying that before it reaches the ground at the foot of the cliff, find the height of the cliff. You have to find the height of the cliff first. So try to find the height of the cliff. So we know that the formula of Snth is nothing but u plus a by 2 2n minus 1. I hope so you all remember this thing, that Snth formula is nothing but u plus a by 2 2n minus 1. 2n minus 1. Now see my dear student, they are saying it is falling. So u is equals to 0 and acceleration is nothing but acceleration due to gravity. So Sn is equals to u is 0 as falling, g by 2 2n minus 1. Now see my dear student, they are saying that you have to find the height of cliff. So in last second before it reaches the ground, they are saying that the ball is traveling, that is Sn is given, it is 24 point, I hope 24.5. So 24.5. So I'll write here 24.5 is equals to g by 2 2n minus 1. Now find the value of n. 24.5 into 2 divided by 10 plus 1 is equals to 2n. So n is nothing but, try to solve this equation beta, you will get n is equals to 3. So n is nothing but time, so t is come to be 3 seconds, and now they are saying find the height of cliff. So if you wish to find the height of cliff, it is h is equals to ut plus half at square. Now see, u is initial velocity, so initial velocity is nothing but 0, so 0 into t plus half gt square. Now see my dear student, h is equals to half into g is 10 and t is 3, so it's square, so 2 5s are 10, so h is equals to 5 into 9, 45 meter is the height of cliff. I hope you all understand how to solve this question. Moving forward my dear student, write down another question. Write down a stone write down another question. A stone is dropped from a balloon. A stone is dropped from a balloon rising upward. A stone is dropped from balloon rising upward with a velocity of 16 meter per second. A stone is dropped from a balloon rising upward with a velocity of 16 meter per second. With a velocity of 16 meter per second. The stone reaches the ground in 4 seconds. The stone reaches the ground in 4 seconds. Full stop. Calculate the height of the balloon. Calculate the height of the balloon when the stone was dropped. Calculate the height of the balloon when the stone was dropped. When the stone was dropped. I am repeating once again. A stone is dropped from a balloon rising upward with a velocity of 16 meter per second. Now see my dear student, in this question we learn a new concept. If anything is in motion and we are dropping any other thing from that thing which is in motion, then the velocity of moving object is initial velocity of dropping object. Here see, they are saying that a stone is dropped from a balloon rising upward. So we have a balloon which is rising upward my dear student. This is, let's suppose, a balloon which is rising upward with velocity 16 meter per second. They are saying we are dropping a stone from this moving balloon. So remember my dear student, if any object is moving with certain velocity and from that object if you will drop the thing, then the velocity of moving object will be initial velocity of dropping object. Write down this in form of note, that if any object is dropped from, write down in form of note, if any object is dropped, if any object is dropped from any moving object, from any moving body, then the initial velocity of, then the initial velocity of dropping object, then the initial velocity of dropping object is equal to velocity of the moving body, velocity of the moving body, velocity of the moving body. So my dear student, here balloon is moving in upward direction with velocity 16 meter per second and we are dropping a particle. So the velocity of balloon will be the initial velocity of stone. Moving forward, they are asking for height. I hope they are asking for height. Okay, so they are saying that a balloon is dropped from a balloon, a stone is dropped from a balloon rising upward with velocity 16 meter per second. The stone reaches the ground in 4 seconds. So they are saying time is equals to 4 seconds. Initial velocity of stone is nothing but 16 meter per second. And we know that acceleration is nothing but g. So the velocity is in upward direction and the stone is going down. So displacement is nothing but minus h. So h is equals to ut plus half gt square. So instead of g we'll write minus g. So minus h is equals to u is 16, time is 4, minus half, g is 10, again time is 4 square. So 2 5s are 10. H is equals to, find out the answer my dear student. If you will calculate this, it will becomes equals to 15 meter, approximately equals to 15 meter. So height must be 15 meter. So I hope you all understand today's topic, which is related to graph, and I'll perform 2 numerical. In 1 numerical we'll understand a concept that if you'll drop anything from any moving object, then the velocity of moving object will be initial velocity of dropping object. We'll discuss velocity time graph, we'll discuss acceleration time graph. In next class we'll discuss more relations of graph and we'll perform some numerical. So I hope you all understand, you all enjoying each and every lecture of motion in straight line, which is now near to end my dear student. Approx 2 or 3 more lectures, then the motion in straight line is completed. After then we'll move forward with motion in 2 dimension, which is projectile motion. Before starting projectile motion, go through your notes, go through the all formula, try to solve lots of numerical which is related to motion in straight line. Stay home my dear student. Thank you for connecting with us. Stay home, take care, bye bye.